This show contains adult content. Howdy everyone, this is Caleb, your host and game marshal. This is the finale of Sounds Like Crows, our Deadlands story. We're going to have something on the main feed soon, talking about what comes next, but for the time being, I'd like to thank a whole bunch of people. Thank you to my whole cast. Incredible support from everyone and everyone from behind the scenes as well. Thank you to Marshall Sims at Mr. Malicious1 on Twitter, who played Thaddeus Crow. Thank you to my brother Isaac Sunstead, who played Abel Crow at Abel the Crow. Luciano Lucky Crow was played by Cameron Day, and then Ellis Crow was played by Alex Horrell at Alex Horrell. Cameron Reed played Harper, Little Baby Daisy Crow, and you can find him on Twitter at CJReed211. Meadow Crow was played by Allie Nesbitt. You can find her on her show, RPG for You and Me, or on Twitter at YouSeeTheHat. Thanks, Allie. And my other friend, Doug Nesbitt, who played Hiram on the show. And you can find him on that show as well, RPG for You and Me. Thank you to our wonderful executive producer, Alexandria Machen, along with all of our stunning musicians, James Quinn, Rudy Zuniga, Levi Rojas, and William Cartwright. Thank you to our Patreon supporters, thanks to James Stevens, Matt Stevens, Gary Oswald, Jonathan Turner, Kirby, Jared, Kyle Neese, Ariel Weiss, and Greg Gray, along with Prime, Matt Birched, Alchemist, Tim Ruiz, and Moscow. Thank you to my good friends Austin Holt and Toby Kaler for providing so much help with the show. Thank you to the Pinnacle Entertainment Group for Savage Worlds and the Deadlands, the Weird West setting. And with all of that out of the way, for the last time, welcome back to the Weird West. This hallway you're in is a bunch of open doors on either side. Inside of them, various levels of captivity or creation of untold monsters. It's a long hallway. It's a good 8 yards to the end of it and 6 behind you. These nooses hanging around you, dripping with blood. When at the end of the hallway, you see yet another judge appear. Hooded figure, medals adorned on his body from his past life, his gray uniform turned to black with the blood of his victims. In his hands, he holds the companions to the pistol Abel now wields, 2 black steel-bladed revolvers.
The shot is from the ground, looking across this hallway at this judge pulling his pistols, and then we see 1 pair of boots step over the frame, and then a second and a third, and then we see a rope with a noose tied around it drop into the center frame. I brought this for Crane, but I guess I can use it on you.
Let's deal initiative. 7 of hearts for Ellis.
Nice.
Queen of diamonds for Thaddeus. 6 of hearts for Abel. Jack of spades for Lucky.
Ugh.
4 of hearts, hit it again. 8 of clubs for Harper. Something gets a joker.
No.
And it's not
and an ace.
the guy.
And the judge gets a queen high. The nooses that hang around you start to animate. One of them falling around the neck of Abel Crow. It's going to make a fighting roll. With a raise, it pulls around your neck, dealing 3d6 damage, only 8 damage.
Yeah, I have the armor on, which gives me toughness 10, so...
It comes around your neck and it tightens. As you try to push forward, it pulls against your throat. You go to chop it with the blade on your pistol and it's stronger than you first thought. It almost seems like strands of hair pulled together. It's going to be a skill roll to get these off you guys. Another one falls around Ellis's neck. What's your parry?
9.
Spin a Benny. Oh, it's only an 8.
Spin another Benny.
Even with the joker, I'll spin another Benny. Miss, miss, miss. It tries to fall around your neck. You bob and weave underneath the noose. We go ahead to next in initiative. Thaddeus.
There's a judge at the end of the hall and a bunch of nooses in the air.
Yep.
I think I'm going to go ahead and cast a small burst template size blast spell on our judge boy. Oh, I'm gonna spend, 5. That will include extra damage dice as I hit this guy. Well, the 6 blew up, but let's see what this D12 does. 6 blew up twice. into a 14, 46 with a raise. 1-6 blew up, but I'm looking at 14. I'm looking at 20 damage currently. 26 damage. 30 damage, Caleb. So I think as this judge comes in and he hears his brother, Thaddeus will step forward.
You know, I gotta be honest, I think we're getting pretty tired of seeing all y'all show up. So, you go ahead and get on out of our way, that'd be appreciated.
And he'll go ahead and almost like he doesn't care, he'll whip a very small but intensely bright explosive blast at this judge.
It is bright, almost blinding in the dark, and as it almost immediately dissipates, you see the judge's figure is gone. And as it's his turn, 3 more identical to his figure step out into the middle of the group. They're flowing like tails from their long coat, accompanying the laughs escaping their mouths.
Caleb, is that you telling us that it soaked the damage?
That was me telling you this is a little bit of an illusion, you know? Do you want to drop a laugh for me? The judge will spend its turn at making some sort of roll. Well, y'all need to make fear rolls at -2.
Oh, God.
Yes!
Failed twice, Caleb.
It's a 5. Caleb?
Same. Got a 5.
Same.
So Harper failed?
19
Oh,
plus 2.
my God.
What?
So I was going to have to roll in the fear table, right?
19 plus 2 is bad.
That is very bad.
Major phobia.
Is he afraid of laughter?
I think your
Nooses?
nooses makes sense, man. Because Abel's getting choked. Like, I think you could, like, stumble back into one that, like, catches around the back of your neck, you know?
Yeah.
That's a shitty phobia to have right now, pal.
Yeah.
That's literally going to be the rest of the game. You have like a negative, what is it, 2?
-2 for the major, yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's the judge's turn. It's 3 figures spilling into the hallway. Lucky, you're up next. 3 judges surround you.
When you say surround us, how, like, melee distance?
Yeah, melee distance mixed in with you. All 3 identical in appearance.
So if I were to shoot right now, we would be going against their parry.
Yeah,
And if I were to leave, there's an attack of opportunity.
correct.
Ugh. Lucky's going to take a multi-action penalty. Can I do, like, because there's only theoretically 1 judge, right?
Right.
So if I were to taunt around me, does that work?
Sure.
Or do I have to pick one specific?
Nope, you could do that. Yep.
Then I'm going to do a taunt into a fan the hammer. You guys aren't as scary when we know that you guys can bleed. 10 blows up. Hit with a raise.
We'll show you who can bleed.
And the judge, who is the source of these 3 specters of fear, appears in the hallway behind you with his 2 hardened steel revolvers. And on the far side of the hallway is the same judge that you sent flying off the flagship with the sai hanging down to the ground. Shoot whoever you want.
I'm going to shoot the illusion judge. Also, is there any cover in this place?
Yeah, you could jump inside one of the open doors.
Cool. That's what I'm going to do after I fan the hammer right now.
Cool.
Which, how are we going to do the taunt? Do we do creative combat, or can I just apply?
I made the judge appear because you did so well on the taunt roll instead of the illusions, but you can roll in the creative combat table. Let's do it.
I mean, I really just want to make him vulnerable, so every single person gets a +2 on him, right?
You can make him vulnerable. He literally stepped into the hallway. I mean, that checks out to me.
Okay, so this will be shooting flat because of the +2 from vulnerability. Hit with the raise, hit with the raise.
Whoa, nice.
Jesus.
Insane.
This is probably not going to be enough, but 12 on the first one.
Yeah, so he's going to be shaken and wounded. I'm going to try to soak unless you want to Benny it for something higher.
No, that sounds cool to me. I still got
mean, you
4
still
more
got-
shots coming.
This is the caster mage, bro. Of course. He's
I get
not his stuff, right?
I feel like
he used mirror
something-
image on us first thing out the gate.
We're about to be killing this guy like 8 times.
I blew up both. He's soaked.
Okay, well, 4 more coming your way. 14 so far, and the 6 blew up. 20 damage on this one.
I'll try to soak. He takes 2 wounds. Keep
What an
going.
insane fan the hammer this was, dude. This is sick.
Yeah, I've never seen that many hits. Just 11.
He'll try to soak. Last Benny of his. He soaked it, so he's taken 2 wounds total. He's no longer shaken.
12 so far. The 6 blew up. 6 blew up. 18. And then into a 1, so 20 total.
I'm going to use a GM Benny to soak. Snake eyes.
Oh, all right then.
You turn on your heels, looking past these judges laughing in the hallway, surrounding you like you're in the middle of a choir of discomfort. You pull your pistol up just at your hip, firing past your brothers who seem to be stuck facing the other judge or turning to the illusions around you, but you see past to the truth. You see through for your mama. How do you kill the judge?
Lucky turns on his heels towards the judge, seeing past his illusion, and he fires 5 quick shots from Lady, each one heating up from his hand. Metal against metal, sparking, turning into flame, turning into an inferno as slugs fly into the judge, ripping him to shreds. This one's for Mama, as he turns and finds cover.
Get a Benny, Lucky. Get a Benny.
Legit chills there, bro.
I need these bennies. Gimme.
Harper, you're up.
Lucky downed the first judge, and there's a second one further down the hallway.
Yeah, 8 pace away.
8
Are the
paces away.
nooses still here?
Nooses are still going, yeah. One's wrapped around Abel's neck.
Harper sees the first judge go down and knows what has to be done for it to be killed permanently. He sees the noose in his hand and can feel nothing but rage and fear. He doesn't know why he feels this way. He just knows that it makes him sick. So he tosses the rope forward and turns to take a shot at the second judge, refusing to do what needs to be done. I'm going for a headshot. Now that I have a major phobia, I'm at -2, so this is only going to be at a +2. Or this is only going to be at a -2, excuse me. God damn it. Nope, I'm going to use a Benny. Ooh, I blew them both up this
Nice.
time.
Hit with 2 raises.
That's 22 damage, Caleb.
Try to soak. Blew up an 8. He still takes a wound, even blowing up an 8. He takes 1 wound.
And then Harper crouches lower, trying to avoid the nooses that are coming down from the ceiling.
So I think the shot quickly transitions back to where Ellis is. It's black and white. In the foreground, you see Ben standing over the fallen judge, examining his face. And in the background, you see Ellis as he dodges these nooses, striking at him like snakes.
He crouches down to the body. We see a shot of his smiling ginger face. Don't worry, baby. We'll hang you soon. Ben moves his head down like the body of a spider below his arms and below his legs, moving his mouth almost into the hood of the judge as he inhales, breathing heavily in. The judge starts to scream in terror as the black, viscous smoke pours out of his hood as he shudders on the ground into the waiting maw of Way.
What do I have to do to free Abel from his noose?
Just a strength roll, not even athletics, strength.
Well, I do get a -1 because I'm assuming the other judge is hooded as well. He was last time.
Yep.
I'm going to run over to Abel, knowing that I think my brothers are much more useful to me in this fight because I don't shoot. I don't have Lawman's bullets. So I'm going to try and free Abel from this noose. So I'm going to make a strength roll. Nice. I got a 12, -1.
Yeah, you
11.
just grab it and twist it apart like a bulk of spaghetti, it popping and twisting apart. And then, Abel, you're left with a decapitated noose around your head.
Why don't you give them a taste of their own medicine, Abel?
Spurred on by his brother's action, Abel raises his hand up, that noose now hanging loose from around his neck as he fires 6 shots at this creature. I'm fanning the hammer at -1. One of the 12s blew up to a 21, a 5, 6, a 5, and a 10. Let's do the 21 first.
So that's 46 for Ray's Fan the Hammer, right? 46 plus 1.
46 damage.
46.
4d6
Automatic.
plus 1, yeah.
How are you getting the 40?
Right hand of the devil makes it 3, and then Raise gives it an
Duh,
extra.
yeah.
9 damage AP1.
With AP1, that is enough to shake him.
Oh, he was already shaken.
I will spend a Benny.
Hell yeah.
13 AP1.
Caleb will spend a Benny to soak. Soaked.
So then the rest are just regular hits, no raises. There are 3 more coming at him. 15 damage,
Try to soak one more time. Soaked it.
2 more attacks, 20 damage.
2 wounds.
Last attack,
I only have 2 GM Bennies.
9 damage.
Oh, that's That's not enough, dude. He's got 10 toughness. 2 wounds to the judge at the end of the hallway.
Abel steps forward, that noose around his neck, firing shot after shot after shot. The creature's own bullets turned back on itself as they rip through his form, tearing flesh and bone and leaving gaping holes where the lights from the lanterns behind him shine through.
New round. Thaddeus, Jack of Spades. Ellis, 7 of Spades. Isaac, 9 of Hearts. Lucky, 3 of Hearts. Harper, Queen of Spades. The judge, it's a Jack of Spades. The nooses get an Ace of Spades. There's 1 deal available, 1 card dealt to the judge. Is there a 10 on the table?
No, there isn't, Caleb.
So
no, there
Ace,
isn't, Caleb.
King,
Get the hell out of here.
Queen, Jack, nothing else. The nooses go first. 1's going to drop down at Thaddeus. I rolled 2 people before you, which I think is impressive.
That is impressive, actually.
3 against your parry, spends its last penny. Blew up a 6. 8.
Against my parry,
Yeah.
beats me by 1.
2d6 damage. 6.
Nothing.
Great. The judge goes next, perhaps for the final time. The last word that ever escapes its deformed throat. He's going to take a multi-action penalty and fire 3 times at -2, because he's got shooting +2. We're going to shoot 1 at Ellis, 1 at Abel, and 1 at Harper. Blew up a 12, 9, which is a hit, 8, which is a hit. Only a raise on Ellis. Ellis, you only take 11 damage.
Which is not enough to wound or shake me.
Abel, blew up a 10, man. 20 damage.
So that's 2 raises. Yeah, so I'm a soak.
Cool.
That's a D8, guys. That's a D8.
You got this.
7. So that's a success. No raise.
So you'll take 1 wound and you'll be shaken. Bullet fires through back at you, the lawman in another life. Harper, let's do it. 9 damage.
I'm shaken.
And it's your turn. It impacts against your chest and there's a tightness, like a soreness, like getting hit with a paintball as the armor absorbs it.
No, I do not become unshaken.
Wouldn't that be a 4?
I'm at -2 because I'm scared of the
That's
nooses.
right.
Crap.
I think it just hits him in the chest, and he kind of rolls back to take cover around. He looks down and sees the gaping hole of the round has hit the ghost steel underneath. And then as he moves to turn around the corner to take another shot, he sees one of these nooses looming down towards him, and he just grits his teeth and is kind of stunned watching it move towards him.
As your other brothers fire past you. Thaddeus, your turn.
Well, I think Thaddeus is going to go ahead and try to get this noose off his neck. Not very comfortable with that. All right, well, I got a 5. I think what happens is as it fell onto his shoulders and started to tighten around his neck, Thaddeus has been in this situation before, and he actually pulls the spear up under his chin before it can get all the way around and starts to fight on it as it tightens around, and then it cuts itself on its own force as it tries to choke him.
Abel, you're up.
I'm going to fan the hammer. So I have 3 hits with raises. First shot is 18 damage.
Dead.
Abel continues to stalk forward, noose swinging, as the judge's pistol appears in his hand for a final time and he fires. Your sins have passed, but your judgment has arrived.
As his body hits the ground, a noose is strung, and we cut to the end of the hallway with 5 crows walking past the camera and 2 judges hanging behind him. The fists of Ellis Crow implant into the locked, hardened door, stopping the crows from the last room before Thomas Crane. We cut inside the room as this massive, multiple-inch door just gets bubbled in like a boiling cup of water, the steel bursting through until finally a hole is made, the wheel turns, and it spills open as the murder enters the room. A man 7 feet tall dominates the center of the room, brought back to life by the machinations earned by Thomas Crane's fortune. Wires pour out of every inch of his body, congealed into a massive group of cables that runs up. I'd like you boys to help me figure out what the final encounter of this campaign looks like. Thaddeus, I'm imagining something reminiscent of what Tabitha had. I mean, not a boiler room, but this is something that she created both for her and for Thomas. Around in this room must be the many, many failed tests, plans of future expansions, dossiers on the many new scientists Thomas aims to put in his employ, as well as the vestiges of the creation of the judges and other such monsters. Can you add some feature to this room?
Well, you know, what's better than boilers but vats for growing these things in, right, boys? Like, we got to see some of these experiments that are in progress of being made. We necessarily wouldn't know which ones are failed and which ones are active, except for maybe the light has gone off in the ones that aren't. And so they've got longer shadows and they seem more disfigured. I think the water is probably like a gnarly pinkish color.
Alex, what are you going to add to this room?
The roof of this room goes up 50 to 100 feet, very tall. And at the top, you can see some sort of platform with some chains hooked up to gears and cogs, perhaps to be raised to the top, much like Dr. Frankenstein, to harness the power of lightning strikes.
Isaac.
This large circular room is cut into quarters by 2 channels cut in the room, kind of like the service bay at a garage for your car, where you can get under things to work. They're currently laid over with a grating. You can see down inside this strange light pulsing up, perhaps flickering in parts, constant in the other, but also throwing this counter illumination the other way. The effect with all these tools is to make it so that there almost aren't any shadows in here.
Well, that's unfortunate.
No teleport.
I mean, I don't need it, but
sorry, buddy.
I don't need it, but like, oh man.
Did you think about that?
Lucky.
Despite the grisly visuals that we are all experiencing, there's a crude, almost mocking nature about it because the smell of the room is a sterile, clean environment. These are all professionals. These are all scientists who are skilled and have crafted the perfect being.
A harsh contrast to the motley crew that has entered. Cameron.
There is a section against the far wall that is set almost like a cubicle, an area of bookshelves and mahogany paneling for Crane to spend any time that he needs to spend in this room. He thinks far too highly of himself to be surrounded by steel, taxidermy, and mutilation. So he has set himself a space where he can be away from that while still having access to the things he needs to have access to.
Also in that far wall, if it's in one far quartered section of the room, just to the right of it, in another quarter, is a reinforced window with many, many slats of ghost steel in front of it. So you can just see cracks into the next room that's brightly lit. You can see just inches of the man, Thomas Crane, inside as we cut to him, who's been wrapping his wrists to protect against the blows he's about to lay on the crows, even by proxy. He's shirtless, and thousands of wires have been dug into his body by the scientists over watching the procedure in this room. Blood is pouring down his muscled back as he turns to face the crows, and the wired Frankenstein-like creature in the center turns to face you as well. His face moves to speak, and it speaks in a disjointed disharmony against Thomas's voice coming through the speakers in the room. Cool. Yeah.
Well, now for a moment, I'm picturing fucking Hugh Jackman in Real Steel.
Yeah, except it's a meat man.
Yeah, it's a meat man.
Are you guys cool if I use a Providence chip?
I guess what do you like
What do you want?
Are you trying to talk to Way or?
Would it no,
Don't do that. Don't do that.
no, would it be cool to have a portrait of Meadow in his cubicle that Cameron described?
I don't know
Would
that
you have
cool is
one?
the word.
Flip it.
I thought he hated her.
I did too, but
I mean, he loved her too, man.
I just want us to have Mama in the room with us.
So she can watch us do this.
No, that was
No,
it.
that's a good one.
wait,
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. The
Maybe
crow
take
is
that.
bad.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
so
good
upsetting that Ma still's watching us, though, so it is a fucky situation.
Describe the curt smile that is hidden behind her deep red dress.
As that Frank turns, the boys get a clearer view into that cubicle that Cameron described, that workspace of Thomas Crane, and to the small 8x8 but very finely painted portrait of Meadow Crane that sits over Thomas's work desk.
Your mother deserved whatever death I brought upon her.
Hey, Crane, you left a few judges out there. We almost tripped on them on our way in.
Pitiful designs compared to what is going to end your life, Harper.
We'll see about that, Crane. These are some awfully high ceilings to be hanging from. Wonder how long it's going to take us to string you up.
Well, why don't I give you a hand?
A loud pitched whine enters the room as a vial snaps inside of Harper's mechanical arm that moves to grab his throat in the same way he saw that visage so long before. It clutches at your throat, and we're gonna...
Now, Caleb, I just got a brand new edge called Danger Sense.
Oh shit, dude, I didn't know I actually picked it.
I did. I'm utilizing it right fucking now.
You can get a free roll, which you're going to have to do in the future. This is going to be a dramatic task. The only option available to get successes is an opposed strength roll against your arm.
So I'm rolling a d6 versus my d12.
Correct.
And if I fail, I choke myself to death.
On the arm's turn, you will take a wound that is unsoakable.
Okay.
The other crows can help you out with strength rolls, obviously, but
how about this, Caleb?
Yeah.
Harper, with his danger sense, hears his arm start to act in a way that he's not telling it to.
Okay.
And the second that thing breaks, he again shoves his rifle into his bicep, and as it starts moving towards his throat, simply pulls the trigger.
The bullet explodes on the steel, lead meeting hardened and fired steel, forged in the same building you now inhabit. Let's steal initiative. Sorry, Cameron.
This is an anti-Cameron session.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, speak for
This is
yourself,
an
pal.
anti-Harper session.
I've been doing just fine.
You can fire your gun. It will just be an additional -1. Thaddeus, Joker. That's
Nice.
a Benny for the
Nice
table.
one, guys.
As good as it could have started.
That's 2 in the session. Holy shit.
Joker for Abel.
Oh, man.
Oh my
4
goodness.
spades for Lucky, 9 of spades for Harper. This monstrosity gets a 3, a 2, a 3. He gets hit again into a spades. There is not even enough for a flush on the table. Man, I can't redeal those jokers or anything, y'all.
Yeah, get out of here.
Beautiful.
Yeah. These are ours.
Do you mind if I go first?
Absolutely.
All right.
Go for it.
The boys are standing in their pack as this scene of chaos breaks out. Abel's hand, empty once again of that judge's revolver, reaches into his pocket where he pulls a card, crumples it into a ball, and tosses it away. I'm going to take a multi-action penalty to cast speed on myself and Ellis. And by speed, I mean
Quickness?
speed plus quickness.
Yeah, there it is. That's the one.
Even better.
Just cost 5 of my 10 power points. Let's hope I get this shit. So I'm rolling this at flat with d6s. Got it. You have higher pace, and also you reduce your multi-action penalty by 2.
That's beautiful.
And then for my second action, I'm going to fan the hammer.
Now this is probably going to be at +2, right?
It
because
is.
now he's affected by quickness, which is cancel out the multi-action,
That's
right?
correct.
This large creature
And
does
the
have
Joker.
dodge, so you'll be at a -2.
AP1. 4 hits. 2 of them were 12s and blew up. 23 and 23. I assume that's hit with a raise.
Yeah.
3 hits with a raise. 1 flat. First hit with a raise. 11, 12, AP1.
No damage.
Abel touches Ellis on the shoulder as that little course of energy transfers over. Ellis probably even notices when that touch hits him, that tattoo shifting. It's almost like it reaches over and nicks just a little bit of skin off Ellis as Abel starts to run to the side, firing his pistol as he does. 23, AP1.
That's shaken in a wound. I'm gonna take
Shaking in a wound. Get that thing off of Harper, Ellis. 10,
it. No.
8.
So these bullets rip through its flesh, most of them not finding any purchase, but one tucks through a vein that starts to squirt green blood out into the room. Thaddeus.
I'm gonna multi-action, but because I have a Joker, it'll negate the +2, -2. Thaddeus is gonna go ahead and also pull a card from his sleeve, and he'll throw it at this creature as it's approaching us. I'm gonna cast slow, upcast it with strong, so that if it succeeds, he'll have to roll at a -2 spirit roll. And then the second action is going to be moving over to Harper and starting to help pull the arm. That's a 6. The target's total movement is halved, and the target automatically attempts to shake off the effects of sloth at the end of his next turn. And then he'll turn to his brother and try to make that strength roll, rolling 2d6s. I've been camping on bennies for a little bit, so I'll go ahead and spend one to try again. That 6 blew up into a 10.
You want me to roll that d12, baby?
Yeah, let's do it.
Is this thing's not a wild card, is it?
Nope, just D12.
It's an 11.
Oh,
Dude,
What did you roll?
a 10.
Damn. Yeah, you clutch at this metal arm that when the vial bursts, oil lubricant greases out onto the skin of the arm, and you grip at it, trying to pull it free, and it's just not happening.
Come on, hey. Come on, Harp.
Well, it's slowed. I don't think it's going to get a chance to attack this round since it is slowed, but I do think a booming voice comes out through its throat.
There's no stopping the fate your brother will find, boys. Why don't you go ahead and do your worst?
He's going to target Ellis with a taunt.
He's got a d12 in spirit.
Come on, Ellis, why don't you come fight what you came here to fight? Oof.
Okay, he got a 7. Before I look at yours, he's going to Benny it. 12.
Yeah, that does beat me.
That's not a raise though, right? So you're just shaken actually, and
Cool.
that's his turn.
Yeah, I guess I'm making a strength check.
Yeah, I mean, you could ignore it, grab your gun, and start shooting.
I've got my gun, but it's a rifle, so I can't shoot it at one hand.
I'm saying you can at -1, and that's the only modifier for shooting at one harmed. You're
As you're getting choked.
You're a legendary character. It's your weapon. I mean, shooting a rifle one-handed is hard, but fucking not when you got this much adrenaline running through you. So it's your call if you want to just slowly, you'll die in 4 rounds.
Or you can
But-
try and rip it off you.
I don't know. What are you going to do?
Harper, you have a spades, and Ellis has a clubs. Both of those are -2 to dramatic tasks.
Oh, it's a
Right.
dramatic task
Yes.
to rip the arm off. And I would also be at -2 with distracted. But Ellis definitely wants to fight the biggest target in the room. He loves the adrenaline rush, but there's one thing that he's always put first before anything else in this world, and that's his brothers. So I think on my turn, I'm going to go after that arm.
Harper's going to shoot. I'm going to go for a headshot on this fucking monster. So I'll be doing this at a -6 + 4.
Well, I'm sorry to be even more of a dick to you, Harper, but Thomas Crane controlling this thing has an edge called bob and weave. You get a -2 to called shots,
And it has dodge.
and it has dodge.
So I'm at -6.
Yeah.
So I
it's not
I declared
-10.
Yeah.
9 -6 is a 3.
So close, dude.
I'm not going to use a Benny.
Fuck.
That is
Well,
so
I can't
close.
use him to soak. Nope.
Firing past him, this thing moves with the practiced skill of a boxer, this large creature coming in for the kill. Ellis, your turn.
This is the fight. This is Thomas Crane. This is what Ellis has been. This is the person that Ellis and his brothers have been pursuing for the better part of a year now, basically.
Yeah.
The man who killed their mother. But this is his brother. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to let the devil out, because why not at this point?
Yeah.
And I think what that looks like is Ellis stomps his feet into this ghost steel floor, taking on a horse stance. His arms shoot out in front of him and then are brought back to his side with a technique that he's practiced 1,000 times before. Although he doesn't breathe, you can see, starting at his mouth, you can see this black, oily substance as it moves down his veins and his throat to the rest of his body. And then he's going to charge his brother Harper and grab this arm and try and just crush it into being inoperative if I can.
Yeah, so a strength roll opposed by a d12. You get a -2 because you've got a clubs, and it's a dramatic task.
Okay, so I get the -2, but I do get an extra d6 from letting the devil out. I got to roll on the table still, too.
It rolled mayhem, and fortunately for you, that is aligned with the purpose Ellis has right now as well.
So this is a strength at -4. -2 because of the clubs, -2 because I am distracted. I don't think there's anything else I get, right?
You
It
get
rolled
plus-
a 5. The arm rolled a 5.
I can attempt this twice at no extra negatives
okay.
because of quickness, so I'm going to do so. So 2 actions, both of which are to try and crush this arm. 12 blows up. 12 blows up into an 11. That is
Not bad.
23 plus 1 because of just my strength.
Wow.
I could apply this, letting the devil out die.
It's best time to do it, right? That's
So that's 24 plus 4 from the extra dice I get. So we're looking at 28. So we're looking at 24.
4 successes. It starts to spark and sputter, gripped underneath your hand, doing what none of your brothers could do.
All right.
Roll after he rolls this time, if you don't mind.
Okay.
And you roll a d12, right?
All right, we're looking at 9 minus 4. Yeah, so 5. Not great.
8.
Damn.
I think once you grip it that hard, your hand starts to slip as more black oil pours out. And there's like a close shot between you and Harper, who's just looking past you, shooting his rifle while you look up to his throat. And it occurs to you, Ellis, as you see Harper's face start to like turn a little bit of purple just at the throat, that this is exactly how your mother died.
Lucky's going to step away from Harper to try and draw the attention elsewhere as to not get all the boys ganged up into one spot. I'm going to attempt a taunt roll at this beast. It seems like it's being completely controlled by Thomas Crane, as if this is just a meat suit of some sort, right?
Yes. If Lucky makes that assumption, I will tell you mechanically it has the mental traits of Thomas and the physical traits of this thing, and then it maintains all of Thomas's edges, much like the shape change power.
Lucky steps away from his brothers as to draw attention towards him. You know, Crane, it's in a crow's nature for revenge, but it seems like cranes are just cowards. No wonder she left you. Lucky raises his hand and beckons him over.
His spirit is D12. I'll roll after.
Yuck. 6 blows up into a 10.
Dude, that's exactly a raise, and there's no way I'm wasting a Benny on a fucking taunt reroll.
Bring it on.
So I think he's distracted or vulnerable, and then we roll on the creative combat table.
I like it. Let's do distracted because he's going to hit like a freaking truck. 4.
Double whammy, the character is both distracted and vulnerable.
All right, perfect.
That solves that.
Does he have a hindrance that he's weak to crows taunts? Because he definitely should.
Wow, that seems very appropriate.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like he should.
Yeah, I thought about giving him negatives. I think with that, let's say you get under his skin, Lucky, and he'll get a -2 against your taunt rolls.
Yeah, I like that.
I guess I'll kill you first.
Harper, your throat is crushed. You take a wound.
You die.
The first wound I've taken in this whole fucking campaign.
It's unbelievable.
Really is.
Seriously.
I got to shuffle because the Joker was dealt. Thaddeus, 9 of spades. Ellis, 10 of spades. Isaac, 5 of spades. Lucky, 8 of diamonds. Harper, 10 of spades. Thomas gets an ace plus some other cards. The arm gets a jack of spades. We got a flush on the table. I'm going to deal to Thomas in case of Joker. So the flush is a card, and then 2 deals unless you want to stop me.
For 2 cards?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather you give them to Abel.
A 3 and a queen.
I'll go ahead and rip up these 2 cards, I guess.
I forgot to make a spirit roll for Thomas to overcome that thing at the end of his last turn, right? He's slow?
Yeah.
-2, he succeeds. The slowness wears off this large rippling body that now runs towards Lucky Crow.
Ah, shit. I thought he was going to be slow. I thought I had some time.
Fighting is D12 plus 2. It's going to make 2 attacks with a multi-action penalty.
This is
And
gonna
-2
hurt.
from being distracted.
Great.
Yes.
It's -2 total. He'll roll a wild die with each set of 2 because it also has Frenzy and Improved Frenzy. I will spend Crane's last actual Benny. I have 2 left for me to reroll. 1 set of damage on his first attack, which is D12 plus D8. I blew up a 12, man.
Of course you did.
Do a 2. 20 damage.
AP,
No, just fists.
20 damage, so I have a toughness of 10, so...
2 wounds.
Yeah, well, definitely soaking. I'm going to reroll that. 8 blew up. 8 blew up.
Beautiful.
Oh my god.
18.
So he swings, you dodge, and then he swings and it's gonna hit you, but then you trip on the floor, dodging the blow by falling. And as you go to the ground, he looks down at you, goes to punch again. You roll underneath his feet as he turns around with a wide sweep of his leg.
Wave 2.
2 hits, no raises. First hit is 3 damage.
I catch his fist and I say, nice try. No, I'm just
Second
kidding.
one, 16 damage. So shaken and wounded.
I'm going to Benny that. Okay, a success.
He did hit you with an attack, so he punches at you. You once again duck under it. He misses, but then grabs you with on both shoulders. We need to make an opposed fighting roll.
Oh, you bastard.
He's rolling a 4, man.
I could maybe do that.
Probably could.
It's a 4.
Great. He goes to throw you at one of your brothers. So I think he grabs you and he like starts to pull you up, and then you grab onto his arm. And so he's stuck with you on it. So when he throws you, you only get thrown back a few feet and land on your feet.
I'm like a little spider monkey.
Abel, it's your turn. Harper will take a wound immediately after your turn.
Not much I can do. So I do have quickness. So I'm going to do 2 actions. Of course, first action, I'm going to fan the hammer. And this is vulnerable, so I'm getting a +2. Ordinarily, I'd be at a -1, so this puts me at a +1 for this roll.
Nice.
That is 6 hits with raises.
Wow. Okay.
Whoa.
First shot, 9 AP1.
Nothing.
Second shot, 23 AP1.
Shaken and wounded.
Third shot, 13 AP1.
Nothing.
Fourth shot, 18 AP1.
He'll take another wound, man. 3 wounds.
Fifth shot, 17 AP1.
I'll spend a penny on that one. So he's got 18 toughness. 4 of that is armor. So AP1 meets that exact. I'll spend a penny to unshake him. Then he's shaken again with that last one. He's taken 3 wounds. He's only taken 1 wound penalty. The long arm of the law unleashes its bullets across the room. Those pinkish vats exploding in glass and liquid, flooding out into the room into a wave, running into the channels below you. The light changes from the bottom into that pinkish, gross tint. And in the liquid, there's almost like vestigial pieces of muscle or veins, so that the picture of light painted on the ceiling is like when you're at the aquarium, but it's like you're inside of a human body.
Abel keeps running to the side with his final shot.
Okay.
8. For my second action, I'm going to use all of my remaining power points to try and cast toughness on myself and Lucky. Actually, no. I'm going to cast it on Harper and Lucky. If I succeed, you will each have 4 toughness additional. 5. Got it.
The arm goes next, this metal abomination grasping your throat like a noose. And I think to Harper the same thought occurs, that this is how your mama must have felt. It's like blackness forming at the edge of your eyes and your throat burning like you're pouring whiskey down it. Would you like to go first, or would Ellis like to go first?
Go for it.
Okay, I'll do the same thing I did last turn. Both actions are going to be used to try and break this arm. But this time, I'm only at -2 because of the spades. That is a 8 -2, so 6. I'm going to reroll.
We need 2 more successes.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, we're so close, dude. Very good. Okay, that's much better. That is instead 14 -2, so 12.
5.
That is...
2 raises.
I only have 1 penny left to spend. I'm not going to do it on this, man. How do you save your brother?
Much like the hand has its grasp on Harper's neck, Ellis has his grasp around this arm. Harper looks to him, his eyes completely black, no emotion in his face, as he crushes this arm and black oil spews out and it goes limp at the wrist, releasing its grasp. And now I can't do anything else because I said I was going to use both actions for that, so my turn is over.
Don't worry, brother. We'll get you a new one.
All right, Harper.
What do I do? Harper lets out a gasping breath as he tries to move into a position where he can actually shoot. I think as Ellis is crushing this arm, there's a shot of Harper's eye, his one remaining eye, that doesn't show fear. It doesn't show sadness. It just shows pure, raw rage as he stares up at this monstrosity. He gasps for breath and doesn't even respond to Ellis. He just uses the limp remains of what was once his mechanical arm to raise his rifle, steadying his aim, and I'm gonna make another shot at this thing. Not calling a shot, I will be at -2, +2 total with marksman and my trademark weapon. That is a 12. 18 damage, Caleb.
It takes a 4th wound.
I think he starts to cough as he raises himself up to one knee and forces himself to stop, still not allowing himself to get the air necessary for life before he lets off a shot that flies through. And I think it grazes the top of this thing's forehead and maybe ricochets up into some of the cables that are actually keeping it connected to Crane.
And I think it even snaps off one of the platforms up above, coming a little bit loose, the thing that it would help bring this body up above the garage pits. Thaddeus.
As Ellis came charging in to start wrenching at Harper's arm, Thaddeus had taken a step back, saw Lucky run off to grab the attention, and started to take in a look and survey of the area and the situation. And those cables snapped after that shot. And I'm wondering if Crane is in the room next to us, behind some slats, armored up.
Sure, yeah.
Are the cords that are attached to this abomination very close-ish to where that vent is, or where this window is?
They're running down into Crane from the ceiling directly above him, like someone with a really expensive VR setup.
Cool. So then I'm going to go ahead and I just took a look. Did you know that you can like modify powers with just like a general set of modifiers?
No.
Well, I just kind of skipped right to all the powers that read off, but there's a whole section of power modifiers that are just kind of general ones.
The last fight of the campaign, Marshall.
Yeah.
You stumbled onto a gold mine here, buddy.
Yeah.
We all figured out our builds.
Hey, no. Listen, this is Savage Worlds Adventures Edition. This has got all the goods in here, okay?
It only took us 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and cast an armor-piercing blast.
What?
Word? Yeah, so that way, hopefully it'll go ahead and better defeat the armor that sits basically right at the wall facing us, and then as much of the cables as he can get over the lip of this room that they're looking at.
So you're trying to cast blast inside that room?
Well,
I think he's trying to hit the door.
If he
and
can
the
get it
cables.
inside, absolutely. No, Thaddeus would definitely, because I mean, come on. The one time he actually like throws a card and he can slide it between the slats and then it explodes, that sounds dope.
Well, it's just sight, right?
The card could like fade out right before it hits the window and pop out on the other side too.
Yeah, that's cool to me, man.
Let me go ahead and see. I will boost the damage, so that makes it 5. And then with the armor piercing, that'll make it 7. My 12 blew up, Caleb, into a 2. That's 14. That'll make 4d6 in a medium burst template.
We'll
Can I
blow
spend
that
a
up.
Benny to only reroll some?
No, it's gonna be all.
Yeah, well, the
Maybe
6
get
did,
lucky.
1 6 did blow up. 16 AP2.
Are you happy with that?
You know what? Actually, I'm not. I have 4 bennies. I'm going to go ahead and spend 1 to
Risky
re-roll
play.
that damage.
It's a bold move. It's a bold strat.
This is targeting Crane though, right?
Yeah.
Alex, you want to take a look at that right quick for me? What do you see there, dude? That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. That's 6.
Oh my god.
Send
Three
him
of
to
those-
hell, baby.
3 of those 6s blew up, sir. So I'm looking at 20 right now. Another 6 blew up.
Wow. Okay, let's count on the table,
But
right? So
before, we've got 24, 27, 33, 37. Whew. Guys, is this what it feels like to be Ellis?
Yes.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it
nice.
must be.
It's
As
one.
he takes a step back and looks up, sees where the cords go, follows it back down into the building, and then cocks his head sideways. You can see through the slats, and he almost does like a strange pose where he sort of leans low and throws close to the ground. The card spins and skims maybe just 6 inches off the ground before it skips up into one of the slats. We see it in the room, and it'll hit just left of the large bundle of cords as they come in and ignite.
roll a 9. He soaks 2, takes 4, and because of his edges, is still up.
Whew, I know how that feels.
The wall separating you from Crane with that much damage, Thaddeus, with 37 damage plus the armor piercing, you would blow a hole in the side of a tank. It explodes inwards and Crane is thrown back violently into the far wall of this wooden room. He slams into it, cracking it, and is torn free of his wires as the thing in the room with you screams.
Enough hiding, Crane!
Lucky.
Is this thing in the room still moving?
Oh yeah, he loses all of Crane's edges. He retains his, and he's losing all of his mental stats from this connection severed.
Lucky scrambles back to his feet as he runs over to the giant beast. Sorry, big fella. My quarrel's not with you, but you gotta go down. This is gonna be a taunt roll, and then I want to do a free fire attack if possible.
Would you like to do 3d8, 48, or 5d8?
5d8.
Yeah, boy.
Wolf.
Great.
Wolf.
Got a d6 spirit without Crane. Blew up to a 9, man.
Blew up a 10. 16.
Creative combat table.
Yeah, sure. 8.
Setback. The target suffers a setback of some sort. Yeah, tell me how it loses one of its 2 multi-actions next round.
As Lucky's behind it, taunting it, I think it's already pretty furious, and this was even with the controlled mental capacity of Crane. And now that he's lost that, he's almost just a wild beast swinging randomly. So he swings behind him with a big left wide hook. But as he's doing that, he's tangling up his arms in the cords that are grasping him.
Awesome.
5d8?
Yeah, you get
Yes.
to.
So make a shooting roll. He's distracted or vulnerable, your choice. I assume vulnerable.
Yep. Benny. 8, so hit with a raise.
So add a d6 to your damage.
Cool. Can I get a bunch of d8s? 24 damage.
It takes a 5th wound, Lucky, and it's still up.
So as it's swinging wildly and getting itself tangled in its cords, I reach up with my left hand, grabbing its face as I just unleash the fury, the pent-up anger of everything that's accumulated until this point, everything that's happened to Lucky and forced him to become this kind of person, to watch his brother's descent into this madness that they've all become.
The black, cracked skin, like magma frozen by the chill of the world, creeps from your fingers and then runs past your wrist, up your forearm, past your elbow, and up to your shoulder. A burning inferno. We cut to a wide shot of Lucky standing almost like a child, holding his hand up to the much larger figure and bursting out into the whole room behind the rest of the crows, the massive red flames that go up 60 feet towards the ceiling. Steal initiative. Thaddeus is a 6 of spades. Ellis is an ace of spades. Isaac is an 8 of spades. Lucky, you got a joker.
Oh, buddy.
Everybody get a Benny? We've got
Nice.
3 jokers for the crows in one encounter. That's never happened before.
In one session?
No.
Yeah.
Harper gets a king of spades. The Franken monstrosity, king of spades. Thomas, the 9 of spades. Oh man, there's so much on the table. That's a flush to Thomas. It's another ace of spades. That's 2 pairs on the table. I'm going to deal 2 to Lucky.
Oh, that makes sense.
Damn.
That is a 10 and an ace.
Wait.
Yep, that's 3 aces on the table.
I can't make no deal and just take that ace to me?
The deck does not heed your call at such a time, Thaddeus.
Did he use the ace or the 10?
The 10.
The 10.
Yeah. I'm going to use the pair from the aces initially to deal to Big Boy, who gets a joker.
Uh-oh.
With a 3 of a kind, 2 effects will occur. I'll deal 5 cards to the table, and Lucky will be vulnerable.
Oh, that's stupid.
Thaddeus,
Oh, now I get an opportunity. Okay, sure. Uh-huh.
you can see 2 futures in the cards.
Sure. Yeah.
In one, Lucky is attacked with 2 fighting rolls. He is vulnerable, and he has 2 bennies left. And in the other, Grace never existed.
Sorry, Cameron.
Which one?
No deal, Caleb.
I dealt 5 cards to Crane. We have another for a second flush, which I'll deal to Crane again. Oh, that's a straight, y'all. 2 additional cards for the pair. That's a 3 of a kind of jacks, dealing 3 more cards. We're going to apply vulnerable to Abel as well. It's another pair of kings, 2 more cards, and that's a 4 of a kind with 4 aces. We have 4 aces. Yeah, I just deal out the rest of the deck, I'm pretty sure, with the straight, which is this over here. Thaddeus?
Yeah.
Why don't you pull a card for me?
There are only 5 cards, Caleb.
There are.
Caleb, I'd like to point out there are 5 players at the table, and you've got like 5 piles of cards over there. I'm feeling a theme that I don't really
Yeah.
like. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this one.
Why don't you tell us what's on the face of the card?
Oh my God, dude.
What is it?
Oh. He's got a big grin on his face. Sure of himself. Clean, smooth shave. Pinstripe suit.
Ellis, take a wound. Give me back that card.
Hey.
Peering through those cards, Thaddeus, you remember the judge shooting your brother.
He's still holding the deck, though.
I know, he's still gesturing towards me with it, kind of aggressively.
You get a pick.
I want this one, Caleb. This boy here. He's got all the sass in the world. It's the one time you see him without his mouth open, with a sky blue vest on, adorned with Lucky Charms.
Lucky take a wound. And then Ellis, Thaddeus, and Lucky will all be distracted, and Lucky is vulnerable as well. Okay, the big boy, still with a joker, his highest card, goes first.
It makes sense that I'm pretty vulnerable right now.
Yeah. He's taking a -1 from wounds, so he's at a net +3 on a d12 fighting roll. So 1 hit with the raise, 1 hit without a raise. Do you want the raise or the non-raise first?
Raise first.
16 damage.
So I have 14 toughness. Have I been shaken at all?
No.
No, so this would be shaken.
Second hit.
Ugh.
12.
Nothing.
Oh,
Plus
fuck.
2 from the Joker.
Yeah, both are +2. Oh, and
They're
they're
both raises.
+2 from the other thing as well.
Fuck.
Yeah, from the wild attack. I wasn't adding the damage to either. So the first one was actually shaken in a wound. So this is shaken in a wound on the first one.
Let me Benny that. Try
Okay.
to soak it.
Soak, yeah.
I'm going to spend my last Benny.
How many wounds you at?
I'm at -2 right now.
Fuck.
Oh, I forgot that. Fuck.
1 success.
So you soak it, no shaken, but then the next one is 16 damage.
Shaken.
Okay.
Not bad.
No
Yeah.
bennies.
Yeah.
Okay. Ellis, you're up next, I think. How many bennies does everybody have left?
2.
4.
0.
I mean, I'm charging this monstrosity.
Yeah.
I don't really care if Crane's behind that door. I could probably break in right now because you said it was damaged, right?
Yeah, Thaddeus has blown a hole in the wall.
We have clear line of sight to Crane. So yeah, fuck this big thing up.
I'm gonna make 3 attacks on this thing, right? Whether that would be at -2. So yeah, I'm gonna make 3 attacks. I'm going for wild attacks on this thing.
Without Thomas at the wheels, his parry is 10.
That's still pretty high.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of my attacks hits. That's me 1 hit with the raise. I got a 7 plus my let the devil out dice blew up a bunch of times. I think I'm gonna reroll that. A little better since this 8 blew up over here. So 23, and I have AP4.
It takes its 6th and 7th wounds.
Okay,
Sheesh.
I will move on to my next attack. Main hand this time.
Okay.
I'm using Frenzy. Okay, I've got 2 D6s on the table. 1 from my wild dice, 1 from the devil dice. They both blew up. We're looking at a 7. I'm going to add my devil dice to that for a 5 more. 14 to hit.
Hit with the raise. And he
my
missed one?
My other attack is a 10 with the wild attack
Wow,
factored
which is
in.
a hit.
Which is exactly a hit. So I'll do hit with the raise first, and then I'll move on to the normal one. 18 damage.
Since he's already shaken, that will be another wound.
He's still up. Here comes that second attack from that frenzy. There we go, baby. It's a 5 and a 2 and a 12, which blows up. So we're looking at 19 so far.
Yeah.
Plus 11, 33 damage.
That would be 9, 10, 11, 12 wounds, but fortunately only the 11th is needed. How do you kill it?
Ellis charges in to help his brother Lucky. He jumps up, hits this thing with a knee to its head. It staggers back. Its arm, still tangled in those wires, breaks free as it tries to punch Ellis. Meets its fist with a palm, breaking whatever bones it has in its body back through its own wrist. As it staggers back and falls to the ground, Ellis jumps on it like a wild animal, blow after blow to the face until there's nothing left but a soupy mess of blood and guts and flesh. And I'm going to use Soul Eater. Now, I had a wound this whole time from Thaddeus's fuck games over here.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to make a spirit roll. This is a Harrowed Edge. At -2, this is a free action after I deal a wound. If I'm successful, I heal a wound. And I believe I still get the devil dice, right? It's trait roll still?
Yep.
Even with the -2, no problem. I make the roll, and whatever wound was dealt to me heals.
Crane gets up from that wooden cracked wall inside his control room. He stands up, shaking his head as he watches Ellis destroy his monster. He marches towards the boys. He grabs a loose gun hanging around, pulling it up, firing at Ellis, the most terrifying creature he's seen in his life. He's only got a D6 in shooting because he didn't intend to shoot.
So I get a wild attack. It would be +2.
He hits with a raise. 10 damage.
Was this too? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's just a bullet that punctures through one of your arms fruitlessly, Ellis, as you slowly stand up to face him. He stands framed by the explosion, torn through his chamber by the crows. Harper, it's your turn.
I'm going to call a shot to his wrist. I'm going to be shooting flat. That's a hit with a raise. 39 damage, Caleb.
Nice.
He takes his 5th wound, and then when he takes his 6th, he is mechanically incapacitated, as well as his arm being entirely inoperable.
You called that shot, right?
Yeah, I think it just punctures through, and he just drops the gun.
It shoots through his wrist like the nail to the cross, and he drops the rifle, clattering to the metal ground before falling to his knees. And I think we're out of initiative.
We did it, guys.
He screams there for a moment after the insanity has sort of died down. Thaddeus, who's been distracted for a moment, lost in the possibilities of what could have been, sees what really is happening. And a smile crosses his face.
All right, Crane, quit your belly aching. Come over here. We need to talk. No.
I'm gonna just, for funsies, I'll even spend the points to do it. I'm gonna throw a stun at him.
It topples him over onto his back as the wind's taken out of him.
I think it's just like the shot of the quick dart of a card bounce off his chest and land flat.
I think as he's laying on the ground, we get a shot from ground level just staring at him as he's twitching and obviously in unknowable pain. And we can just hear the boots of several of the crows walking his direction. Slow, steady, calm. And then Harper places his boot on one of his shoulders to kick him onto his back flat, and then places that boot firmly on his chest.
The shot is from the ground up. The Tarantino trunk shot. 5 crows looking down, standing over the man like giants, the light turning their skin a monstrous hue.
Abel reaches into his breast pocket, takes that picture of Lori and Thomas he took from the train, and casually tosses it onto Thomas's chest.
Followed by Harper reaching into his pocket, pulling out a necklace Lori was wearing, and dropping it in the same place. You could have left us alone, Crane. You could have let her go.
I guess you couldn't either.
Nope, and that's why you lost everything, just like me. And Harper leans down, squatting face to face. We can see that he's already bruising around his throat. The places where his steel fingers met each other have pinched through his skin, so he has 3 deep, bloody lines leaking his life's blood out of him. And his one remaining eye is bloodshot.
How'd my daughter die?
Well, you led us straight to her.
I hope you rot in hell. And when you get there, I'll be waiting for you.
Yeah, ain't that it, Crane? For all your scheming and wild goose chases, all your plans, and where to get you. Is this progress? Success? Doesn't look like it to me. How you feeling, boy? Pretty smart, I bet.
You have doomed the world. I was the only thing that was chaining up these monsters coming for us all. Now you let them loose.
Yeah, I suppose that's a matter of opinion, Crane. And at this point, ain't nobody give a shit about yours.
He's gonna kick him once.
All right, boys, where's that rope at?
It's a face-up shot of Ma in her red dress, the picture that is on Crane's desk in the other room, as it slowly fades back, Lucky wearing a now stained red vest, as he unbuttons it and throws it onto Crane's face as he's laying on the floor. Just put the noose around him. Let's get this over with.
Ellis's face, covered in whatever fluids filled the veins of that monstrosity, swallows a chunk of flesh down as the white returns to his eyes. No, we gotta make sure he doesn't come back. Or if he does, he's gonna have a hell of a time fitting in.
You know, I got an idea, boys. In this very town, there's a judge hanging from a tree. What do you think we add to that?
Well, I think that's mighty fine.
Ellis pulls out his Bowie knife. I was thinking something a little more personal.
Hey, why not both?
You can be patient. You got all the time in the world, don't you, Ellis?
All right, then.
We cut to the streets of Tombstone. Not a soul in the town willing to stop the crows making their march. Crane lets out a multitude of screams and pleas between the beatings given to him by the crows on their journey. not a lawman left alive in Tombstone. We cut outside. A crowd kept their distance by the town as the crows marched to the tree. Thomas's throat is hoarse, his soul barely clinging to life as a noose is thrown around his neck. He's pulled up slowly. No need to break the neck. Pulled up, hanging next to his proudest creation. The two hanging side by side, the judge dead and lifeless, and the governor clinging to life with a faint gurgle, eyes bulging out from his head, tongue hanging from an agape mouth. How do you want to finish his life?
Now, from what I understand, this is gonna make it so you can't come back like I did. But if by some miracle you're given that option, you better think twice. Anybody else got anything to say?
Harper takes a step forward and holds Crane's eyes for a moment, and then spits.
Next to Ellis, Abel leans back on his heels, staring up at the man hanging. Fuck you.
Ellis reaches up to release some of the tension on the noose by grabbing it from underneath his neck and pulling it up. What about you? Got anything to say? Any last words?
If any words formed in his mind, Ellis, there's not much left turning in there. Just a gurgled breath with blood pouring down the side of his face.
Ellis just shrugs. It's all the same. Wasn't gonna let you say him anyways. Then he released the rope real quickly. No pageantry to it. I think the knife just is thrusted into the side of his temple as I look him right in the eyes.
There's a wide shot. The Crow Boys almost half a mile away from the tree already. The crowd still watching. Inaudible from this distance, but no doubt this tale will not be forgotten, and the crows won't be forgiven. The wind blows through the white landscape, flecks of red thrown off Crane's body, him and the judge hanging there blowing in the wind. On the same tree that Harper's destroyed poncho is cut to ribbons, flowing in the wind like flames.
Lucky opens his eyes, slowly, in a pool of his own sweat. The years have not been kind. His hair now a tarnished gold, his eyes dulled green. He's slow to lean up. He wipes away the sweat in this hot room with his only usable arm now. He looks around him as he sees the heat simmering off the floorboards. It's only a semi-familiar room that him and Thaddeus have unfortunately gotten to know well. He walks slowly to the other side of the room, to a desk that he's been spending night after night at, drafting letters. 3, in fact. He's been trying to conjure the words, just the right words to say, but he can't figure it out. He's now out of time. He knows he has to go.
It's a shot of him swiping them up from the desk, and then a shot of him walking in daylight, holding the 3 letters in his right hand, walking down a boardwalk. We can hear the whistle of a train at the train station he's arrived at, and we see him walk past dozens and dozens of people, a bustling locale, the chilly air covering the residents of this city in thick coats and hats pulled down low over their eyes. Not a smile in sight, which is just fine with Lucky. It's dangerous to smile these days. Another train whistle and the conductor pull Lucky's attention away from the telegraph window he's now held up at, waiting for a clerk to approach him. A conductor calling the first boarding for his early departure. His head is pulled back to the window as the clerk appears. A few words are exchanged before we see the clerk put his hand down on the letters and pull them across the desk. 2 of the names we don't recognize at all, but the third one is Kane. Another train whistle, and this time Lucky is on the train, looking out at the snowy countryside around him, the cold winter air pushed away from him by the glass in between them. Trains are nicer these days. It's a smooth ride to the frozen north. It's a few days, The border crossing is a bit scary on your way into Canada. We see Lucky tense up when Border Patrol comes by to check the train, pulling a hat down over his eyes, keeping his mouth shut. Not many fugitives with a golden smile. Before long, the train is on its way again, and Lucky is pushed back into this state of chronic insomnia, and when he lets his guard down, falls into more dreams, more death, more reminders of things that could have been. Next thing we see, the train is at its destination. Lucky has stood up. A man next to him offers to pull down his luggage from like an overhead rack, and we can see the man pointing to Lucky's left arm hidden underneath his coat. Lucky politely refuses and takes his suitcase and exits the train. It's a small town, not unlike Silvertree, a mining town in Canada, cold and much more energy than Lucky would prefer. We see him walking through the streets, asking people how to get towards his destination. Next thing we see is Lucky standing outside a small homestead, something a new family would have, a new life started here in the north. Lucky walks to the door and knocks, and after a few moments, the next thing we see is him wrapped in conversation with a woman in her 30s, distraught, angry, sad, lots of yelling, a little bit of crying, and none of it from Lucky. A kid pushes up behind her, not speaking, just witness to the event. Staring out from behind her legs, Lucky's eyes are drawn to his.
You got his eyes.
The next shot is a pine coffin being awkwardly drug up wood stairs out of an ice house near the main homestead. Its contents kept cool as Lucky desperately tries to pull it up by himself with one arm until the woman helps and the child pushes too. We see it from the 6-year-old's point of view as he helps his mother push the box up the stairs, and he looks behind him to where it sat next to processed game and other food to be kept cold. He looks up as they make it up the stairs and then scrambles up to follow. Train wheels and a train whistle now, the clacking of rails. Lucky's back on a train. We see him staring out the window, the Canadian landscape going by. He stands up and walks to one of the doors and opens it, the cold air whipping at his coat as he pushes forward. Moving through another train of disinterested passengers, he finds an open-top car, storage boxes lashed down to it, tied down or strapped, some loose, and the body of his brother being knocked and jostled inside of its box, kept cold. We cut to Lucky's face, and he looks so tired. And then once again, Lucky's boots stepping off a train, steam pouring up around them, the whistle and that low release of steam from the engine parked, having to release the pressure from its burning boiler. This is not the town he spent his last couple years in. He stepped out onto a boardwalk, and he looks around at a place he hasn't seen in quite some time. It's grown a bit, some buildings lost, some added, but it does seem smaller than it used to. See a wide shot of Lucky standing on this mostly deserted train station. The few passengers getting off here step around him and into the town, as we see in the foreground of this wide shot, the name of the town, Silvertree. A few conversations later, and a few dollars lighter, we see Lucky sitting on the bouncing boards of a wagon with his brother's coffin in the back, rented for a few days as he rides through town, a slow trot. Not a soul looks up to acknowledge his presence. The only attention he receives is the calls of working men and women from an establishment on the side of the road, hawking their services as Lucky slowly rolls by. Then we cut inside of a building, a Western Union telegraph office. It's different than it was the last time you were here. More stations have been added. Looks a little bit busier than it did before. The horse of the wagon just tied up outside as we see Lucky walk up to the clerk window.
Any messages for Luciana de Rose?
A humph and a nod as he moves to the back. An undeterminable amount of seconds later, the clerk comes back with a grunt and a shake of his head. for no.
Lucky, in an almost familiar motion, tips his hat up. Anything for Lucky Crow? And for a second there, you can almost see a glint in his eyes.
Clerk looks you up and down. You ain't Lucky Crow.
He doesn't need to speak anymore. He just smiles.
There's a flash of recognition across the man's face. He smiles, a type of way you smile when you realize you're meeting someone you look up to, like an author you wouldn't know the face of, but once you heard their name, that spark of expression. And then it's immediately cut by fear as his face turns sour and a dry gulp fills his throat.
Now I'm expecting 3 very important letters.
I don't want no trouble.
Lucky just nods him to the back.
He takes off in a start and very quickly returns. He pushes over just a stack of letters, most of which look like they've been sitting at this telegraph office for years. We see Lucky pick them up with his right hand as he walks to the wagon. We see him holding this stack of letters in his right hand, his left unusable arm held in his coat, and he's just pushing them off with his thumb one by one, looking for the 3 letters he hoped to receive in reply. He pushes them down, dropping them onto the boardwalk and then onto the dusty ground of his hometown until he pushes his way to the 4th letter. It's not from anyone he knows, but there's only 3 letters behind it. He stands there for a good moment, not quite breathing, not quite living, till he pushes his thumb down, and then in quick succession pushes it down 2 more times, till he's left with a single letter, which he lets drop, defeated, onto the dust below. A few nervous days pass in Silvertree. A disagreement with the undertaker about the price. A disagreement about what should have been set up before Lucky was here. Doesn't matter now. Cut to Lucky in his room at night, coffin on the other side of the room while he sleeps in an old squeaky wooden bed in a too-hot room. He wakes in the morning to a knock at his door. He leaps up, lady in his right hand, moving to the door. The sound of the telegraph man's voice on the other side.
Mr. Crow, you told me to tell you if any more letters came, and just wanted to tell you they didn't.
There's a nod, a word of acknowledgement as Lucky relaxes, puts Lady back on the bed, and looks at his brother in the corner of the room.
Looks like it's just you and me, pal.
Cut to the makeshift hearse on the dusty streets, and cut to the old hill where the crows buried their mama. There's a tree poking out, all dead and gnarled. On the type of day where there's not many clouds in the sky, it's just gray, hard to tell where even the sun is, as this horse struggles to pull the wagon, carrying the crow and his brother. The only other soul alive there is the undertaker, who's been paid to dig the grave, which he's done, and him and his son unload the casket and slowly lower it into the grave with ropes before leaving Lucky alone on the hill. Alone except for the graves around him and the tree above. I see a wide shot of this hill in the right of the frame just pulling up from the ground, this big mound against the gray sky as the 2 figures go down the hill, taking the horse and cart with them, leaving Lucky alone except for this tree on the hill. And we cut to Lucky's boots, the back of them, grave in front of him, and hidden behind his body, out of focus, the 2 tombstones. The one that is only partially obscured, this fine headstone Ellis bought for your mother, seemingly untarnished by the rain and the elements, except for a little bit of dirt and mud held up in the corner. And then as the camera moves past Lucky, back over his shoulders, over his head, we see the second gravestone next to your mother's, a simple wooden affair with the name Harper Crow carved into it.
Lucky stands there for a moment longer, still expecting someone to come around the corner, come up that hill with him, and stand alongside him. He begins to kneel over to grab some dirt and throw it, but at this point, why bother? He knows no one's going to do it for him. He knows where he's going to go. He knows where Ma is. And he knows where Harper just went. as he takes his lucky rabbit's foot and buries it into the grave of his brother. I'm so sorry, Art. I hope this brings you luck, 'cause it did nothing for me. You were always my hero. And I failed you. Lucky's staring at his hands. You're gonna be remembered as someone that took his own life. But I'll know that these hands are the ones that did it. Goodbye, friend.
Lucky hears the snap of a fallen branch off this tree that's rolling all the way down the hill. The snap of a footfall of someone coming up the hill. And for a moment, there's a spark of hope inside Lucky as he twists to see who has come up the hill, hoping that it's a crow. And it is. It's a very wide framing. The old hill for burying, climbing up from center frame to the right, with a backdrop of gray, a black gnarled tree with a few crows nesting in its branches. Lucky Crow standing in its shade, looking down at the figure below him, and at the far left of the frame, the size of a small bird, the son of Lori, Colton Crane, stands at the bottom of the hill, his face and body scarred and maimed by tales untold. He holds up a revolver towards Lucky with the aim of a well-practiced killer, his eyes hollow and his lips quivering, and in that moment the two know each other like no other souls ever could. And moments before a trigger is pulled, a broken yelling call is sent up the hill.
Crow! You killed my mama!